My name is Danny, and today I'll make a podcast where I tell you what we have learned in the time we have had this topic. The topic has lasted about a month. I may be wrong because my memory is a little fuzzy, but that is what I remember it being. Now to what the topic actually is. The topic is war, and some texts that have been written during these times. Almost all the texts we have been given have been about the First World War. The only exception is the last text we read, which was a text about the conflict between the Catholics and Protestants in Britain. The text was called Guest of the Nation, and it seems to be a sample of a novel. Now to what we actually did to these texts and how we made some short analysis on them. The one we worked with most was, of course, those we had a lot of, which was poems from the First World War. Not something that I personally find very exciting, but it is what it is. Wait, there's actually something I remember. We did as the first thing, we looked at war posters, where we found some war posters and made a quick analysis on it. We also made analysis of some paintings which described the First World War. I think it was here we learned about patriotism and what it is. And to just say what it is the love for one's country. So it is a feeling which is shown a lot in some types of media. We found out that in war posters, almost all of them that were shown showed a lot of patriotism to get people interested in joining the army, as an example. Now back to the poems and how we made an analysis. We started by reading them and looked if we can see which type of poem it is. As an example of a type of a poem, it could be the one where there are 2 stanzas and each line have about 10 to 14 syllables. Now that I think back on it, I don't remember what it is called, but you get the idea. After that, we began on the tricky part, which was the symbols in the text and symbolism, which have been shown to be up to interpretation. We did this to get a better understanding of what the author wanted with the poem. After this, we talked about the overall tone of the poem. This was also an important part because people thought that the First World War, would end rather quickly, but as we now know, it didn't end quite as quick as people had hoped. This is also shown in the poems. The poems are generally a lot more optimistic in the first couple of years compared to the last, which makes sense because if people was thinking it would be ending quickly, they will be thinking more optimistic and writing more optimistic poems. And now to the special one of the bunch, the novel sample. We didn't actually make an analysis of the start. We started off by reading the first part and coming up with an educated guess on how it ends. Most of the class, including my group, just made the whole story into a random bar fight with weird accents. It was first when we read the actual ending that we began to make an analysis of the text. And we saw like a short story. We made like a short story analysis with characters, themes, but there was a little spice of war in it. An example of this is the inclusion of aspects of war, and probably others that I cannot remember. And now to sum up the topic. The topic about war is an interesting one because there is a lot of action that took place, but due to the 7-ish poems we read during this topic, it all ended feeling like any other time with poems, and which is every time. The analysis part was as you would expect. There isn't anything special, but there was a fresh inclusion of posters and paintings, which was easily the most entertaining part, because that was something you don't actually do a lot. For example, if you make the analysis of poem today, like a modern one, you don't really compare to paintings and other visual stuff. So that was the most entertaining part and most special part, I think. Yeah, I think that is all. Thanks for listening.